Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. In the morning. Paul B. Buddy the God is on his way. We're going ahead and get this fired up. It is Monday, the 30th of March, 2026. Stay tuned. Let's get it rolling. First Sky Omaha. In the morning. Money. Once again, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, March the 30th, 2026. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning is happening right now. Appreciate everybody joining us and getting up early with us this morning. And let us know how your Monday is doing. Looks like Buddy, you back? You good?
In the morning.
Oh, okay. All right. Coming in, sliding in on us.
Moving, grooving, sliding, gliding. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning. Appreciate everybody joining us. Let us know how your weekend went. Of course, we'd like to start off a little bit by talking about some of the things that went down over the weekend, whether or not you were able to make them. And we'll get into it. Lots of conversation today. No guest today. It'll be us. And we'll slide into the second hour with some heavy conversation about some things that went down over the weekend as well. Man, let us know how your weekend was. I'm seeing Michelle Moreno giving us a good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Appreciate you coming in. RG says, "Oh, empty chair, buddy." Yeah. Buddy. The concept of time is worse than mine.
It is.
Believe in the concept. Morning, y'all. Appreciate you, man. Marlon Harrison says, "Good morning, First Sky family, and happy motivational Monday." Right on, man. I love that. It's always good. We think about setting intention for Monday, and that does inspire and spur the motivation for me as well for the week. So that's what's up. Leia Keiser gives us a happy, marvelous Monday. Appreciate you coming in this morning as well. Shout out to you. Shout out to the podcast. New episode of Swing Left Nebraska is out now. And I appreciate that you're coming in talking about some of those things, some of the bills that are going to be voted on this week. I saw the post. Yeah, if you haven't seen the post, go check it out, Friends of First Sky Omaha. But definitely check this out so you can know what you're up against, what's coming up. Some pretty specific things happening on the podcast as well. So definitely check out Swing Left Nebraska. Wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to Leia Keister, First Sky Omaha fam. Yeah, that's what's up. Appreciate you.
Squad.
Also, RG says alleged high of 80 today. Alleged.
No, I see a 9.
Oh, say what?
90.
Yeah, that is alleged. Allegedly. I also heard there was rainstorms coming today too, so we'll see.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, how's it gonna rain and be 90 at the same time? Now, if it rains and it's 90 at the same time, Omaha really is crazy.
That's like crying while you're smiling. It's like
freezing while you're sweating. All of that. Heather Williams gives us a good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Anybody in the chat so far been out to No Kings this weekend? Heard there was hundreds and thousands and maybe even hundreds of thousands. Depending on which headline you're reading.
Yeah. I know traffic was backed up out here, man. It was, I got in it and I was like, oh, yeah, that is going on today.
Well, it went all around the country. I got to tell you, that is where hundreds of thousands of people showed up, was around the country in a real way.
For sure.
Let us know. Sean McCarthy says, "Good morning, First Sky team and chimers. I'm hearing 87 degrees today." Whew.
Okay. Yes. Y'all can have that.
I mean, like I said, the only thing that makes me nervous about it is if it's going to rain, the humidity level with that kind of heat is something that we might be complaining about. So we'll see. Let us know.
Yeah.
Sean McCarthy says, "Hope everyone had a good weekend. You too,
Likewise.
man." Christy Norris says, "Good morning." Mark Manner gives us a good morning. That's what's up. Christy Norris says, "I went." Yeah. I'm
okay.
Going to be out there.
Campaigning.
We definitely have to talk about the No Kings. I saw this little blurry picture here. This is at the park. I can't even see. There's so many people.
Where is that?
Gallagher Park. This is in Omaha.
Really?
Man. Yeah, so it could be hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Paul.
I don't know. It's a lot of folks. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Which one did you go to?
This one right here is New York, from the New York Times. So we kind of made the New York Times newspaper, and their picture was a little bit clearer there. So that's what's up.
But that's Gallagher Park?
Gallagher Park.
Bro, It went down. It went down. So it was. Seems like several events all over. Because
Yeah,
I kind of want to get into Brother Sherman's speech. Shout out to Big Sherm. Big
man.
Sherm. Yeah, Big Sherm. Fool. Big Sherm. Looks like I think from the video, looks like he was at Benson Park. So it was different things going on all over the place, huh? Let us
Yeah,
know. Which one did you go to,
all over the
Christy?
place for real.
Man.
This is Benson right here. They was
Oh
marching down
man.
Benson. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know, Christy, which ones you went to. Anthony Rogers Rice says energy was kind of off at the main Omaha rally. More folk interested in holding signs for honks than holding toxic power structures to account.
Hmm.
Clever. Okay, got it. I see what you did there. It says that was not Galler Park, Paul. Oh, where was it? That's what the headline said from the newspaper. Where was it then? Michelle Moreno says I was there. I was there a little bit. Okay, cool. She says no. He was at Gallagher. Are you talking about you talking about Sherman? Sherman was at Gallagher. Gallagher Park is in Benson. Same event. Oh, gotcha. All right, cool. They
So
also
where was
also heard they was walking down Benson, marching and also marching downtown too as well. So there's like I think there was a lot of a few different areas that people were going to. Christy North says I went to Gallagher. Okay, that's what's up. So if I heard a few other people, Chad Chimers told me yesterday they went down and kind of drove around to see what was going on as well. Wasn't a whole lot of places to park and get out. Some of my elderly friends that were like, "Yeah, I just kind of
mm,
wanted to go down there, but I just rolled through." So I guess it was pretty deep, pretty deep. So yeah, I appreciate that. Some got Chad Chimers in the chat saying they was there. Michelle Moreno, Anthony Rogers Wright. Also, Christy Norris. So I appreciate that. Thank you for going down, representing, seeing what's up. Let us know how it was. Give me some more feedback on that. I want to know how Omaha represented there because it did definitely happen all over the country in a big way for real.
man.
Buddy, you said it was the traffic was bad out there, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a lot going on. The weather is getting better, but you could definitely kind of sense in the air that there was some disruption going on as far as the traffic in the protest. So it actually seemed like everywhere you went, traffic was pretty backed up.
Yeah,
But definitely, I'm wondering for those who did go out there, what was the diversity like a little bit? What was what I'm saying? What was really the pulse? Shout out to Anthony Rogers Wright giving us his account. I would definitely love to hear from more of y'all. Actually, we'll kind of dive into a little bit of what Anthony Rogers Wright posted in Friends of in the second hour. So I do appreciate that. Keeping the conversation going. Yeah, there's some things to dive into and break down with that situation. But yeah. Again, big shout out to everybody that went out there and represented. Let us know. Let us know.
yeah. Some other things that happened over the weekend too. You might as well jump into some community updates
Hey.
and look at what happened over the weekend too. Of course, we had Easter in the village that went down. So
Oh
shout
yeah,
out to
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
that came out to that. There was a pretty good turnout there. So yeah, Easter in the village went happened. A couple other events, but mainly I think everybody was kind of out here for the No Kings rally. And I pulled a couple photos from some friends of First Sky Omaha. This is Allie Peeler out there singing the song, and that's what's up. She was out there on stage as well. Of course, Shamika Grayer, a friend of First Sky Omaha as well, was out
Hey,
there giving a speech. And of course, Big Sherm is who
big
gave a
Sean.
really powerful speech. Man, I'm kind of really impressed by the speech he gave.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of them revolutionary spirit, get you riled up type of speeches. So shout out to Big Sherm doing his thing for sure. Yeah, that's what's up.
Mm.
Also, there was the library event over the weekend too. I don't know if you guys, if anybody went to that. I missed it, and I'm hot about missing it. I'm so mad that I missed this. But this was we were part of the crew that made some decisions on the artwork that's going to be in there, and this was the opening for the art. So they showed they had people walk through and they met the artists that were able to put the art up, and all the art is up now. When we went to the opening before, they didn't have all the artwork up yet, so this was the opening for that. So I don't know if there's anybody in the chat that went to that, but let us know if you did go to that. That was a pretty interesting event from what I saw from the reports coming in. But man, so mad I missed that. But shout out to all the artists that got to be that got
Yeah.
to their art in the new library, man, to represent, man. I think it's an awesome thing we got going on here. I'm still very excited about the new library and the whole system.
Man.
Something
Speaking
else.
of representation and diversity,
Big
all the
time.
artists.
Big time. I think they did a good job. Good job. Just a couple run throughs of things that are coming up. Art battle is going to be happening here on the 4th at Culture
Hey.
House. That's always a great event. Of course, it's a reminder to everyone that when you come to art battle, you're basically the one voting on who's going to win. It's a very participatory situation they got going on there, and you get to meet a lot of good artists, and it's a pretty exciting event. So definitely go check that out if you would. They're not just sticking to the arts over there, though. Culture House got a candidate forum coming up on April the 8th from 6 to 9. They're going to be at Culture House with the candidates. So we'll get more information on that and let you know. Coming up, everybody's kind of coming through on that. So that's what's up. Also, Pull Up and Vibe is happening on the 4th as well. This is Kiara Marshaw's event, and she's going to be there with Just B. As you can see, some other artists there too. Lo Alisi and DJ Dev is going down. So definitely check that out. It's always a good time. This event is really growing as well. Shout out to Kiara Marshall for Pull Up and Vibe. Definitely go check that out. And also this is coming up actually tomorrow. Martinez for Sheriff. The campaign kickoff is happening for Brother Mark Martinez at Beacon Hill Restaurant, 6750 Mercy Road in Omaha. And yeah, we're talking about getting a new sheriff in town. There you go.
New sheriff in town. They trying to eliminate the brother.
Man,
get him off the roads.
Try to do this. Try to pin him down, but he's coming back strong. One more before we move on here. This is a community conversation happening with a place called the Josh Place, which I'm just learning about. It's about a state of homelessness and mental illness in Omaha. This is happening today from 6 to 7:30 at Community Alliance, 7150 Arbor Street in Omaha. As you can see, Mayor Ewing is going to be speaking there. Also, Sherry Strong from the Josh Place and Core OPD. This will be interesting to hear from what's going on there. Right. It's a free event. All is welcome. Here's a little information about it. Would you put someone with dementia out on the street? Would you leave someone with Alzheimer's to find their own way? I'm guessing no. However, we do this every day with people with a chronic mental illness because there is very, very, very few options for long-term living. So many have talked about how we need to do something, yet no one is. So we are, but we need your help. We will be holding a free informational event on March 30th at 6 p.m. at Community Alliance in Omaha. The mayor, Core, and others will be speaking. Learn how you can be the one that said, "I didn't wait for everyone else. I helped."
Yeah.
So something interesting that kind of popped up on the radar. Shout out to Tamara Dwyer for putting that in Friends of First Sky Omaha. And it's something to learn about. Didn't know about any of those organizations, so we'll see.
Yeah, man. Definitely, reminding me of Brother Levi Blake. Definitely rest in peace. To Brother Levi. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's just really hitting us too. There's so much Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like this happening. It seems like it's happening at a greater pace, and more of us are dealing with it in our families than before, in a big way. So shout out to that organization. And we'll look more into what they got going on. I'm sure that's probably a big part of what goes on with people who are on the street. Some people that are dealing with homelessness and stuff like that too. It's got to be like you said, Brother Levi Blake, who just kind of wandered off away from his spot because of that problem. So
and if you remember, the authorities, quote unquote, try to act like he didn't have his mental health condition, and try to act like he wasn't missing. And yeah. So to have this conversation, have this recognition, try to have some people do something about it, that's huge.
Yep. So that's all for the community updates right now. We got more coming. We'll talk about more a little later on the show. And let us know if you went to any of the events over the weekend and what your take was on those. And if there's anything coming up this week, let us know early so we can kind of put it in the intentions for the week in a big way. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. Donnell Sessions gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate it. Anthony Rogers Rice said, Big Sherm, as expected. Yeah,
man.
He put it down, man, for real. Mark Mander says that was for the elite people. He said that was Pinky's up. Pinky's high to the sky. I hear that. Appreciate it, man. 7:14 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're gonna jump into what the thread is for today, buddy.
Hey,
what's on your mind? Going down.
Yeah, man. Again, no guests today, so we're gonna be touching on a few things. Follow the Money Monday is the name of today's episode, and yeah, we're gonna follow the money to a couple of directions. Starting with, of course, North Omaha. There's a story we did not get into on Friday that apparently there's been some chatter about, talking about this grocery store coming to the Deuce. Again, we're looking at needs. Last week we spoke to Sister Kimber Snipes of One Omaha and talked about her upcoming needs assessment, and we're still kind of putting the fillers out there. What does the community need? What do we need? What can we make happen? What are we missing? So I definitely want to dive into that, but also sticking to some other developmental things happening. Again, following the money. Shout out to the sisters going into Wakanda Elementary, which is in my backyard, my neck of the woods, if you will, my neighborhood. Shout out to Wakanda. And yeah, teaching the baby some financial literacy. This is follow the money, so definitely want to shout that situation out, talk about it a little bit. Hopefully, you'll learn some things. So yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. But also, as we've been, sort of talking about this morning already, we definitely have to dive into the no kings situation. All season, we've been pushing this six to dismiss line, and of course, the no kings rally is a focus on Trump and his administration and the tyranny that we've been seeing. But stateside here in Nebraska, we got to talk about Pillin, man. Pillin, as you see, is top of the six to dismiss list. And we haven't really been talking about, again, the other side of it, not just dismissing him, but who will we replace him with? And the Nebraska Examiner has actually got a pretty interesting article kind of foreshadowing, forecasting what the gubernatorial race might look like. Actually saying, is it a foregone conclusion that Pillin makes a return? Is that okay with you? Got opportunity to do something about it, so we'll talk about that. But not just that. Also, again, shout out to Nebraska Examiner, kind of posing the question. We've had the No Kings rally in the second hour. We'll get a little looser on it. What's next? Again, getting rid of Trump, getting rid of Pillin. But what's next? Is that enough? Is that the end all be all? What does it take? Also, some allies. Of course, we're talking about the diversity, the makeup of some of these No Kings rallies. Some questions being posed. Are people really asking and looking forward on how to move forward on some racial justice, some reckoning of some wrongs? Is that really where we are? We'll talk about it in the second hour and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're missing the mark on, some breaking news we didn't hear, just something you want to talk about that you feel like might, help us all out in the end. Definitely drop that into the chat. Let your mind be free. More importantly, let your voice be heard. We're a little behind, but that's all good. In the meantime, between time, it's Monday. Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word?
Man, just trying to make it happen. Get up. Make that Monday work.
Man.
Wake up and get busy with it. So I appreciate it. Clarice Jackson
Sorry I was
in the
late.
chat.
Had to get my tea, man. It's Monday. It's Monday.
Don't blame it on the tea. Clarice Jackson in the chat saying, good morning. I'm out here spreading the value of literacy and my new policy theory coming out in the Midwest Quarterly Journal in April.
Hey. I need to talk to you, sister.
Yeah, proud of you too, sis. We have to have you on the show and talk about what you got going on for sure. We'd love to. We'll jump back into the comments as soon as we get back from a break. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be buddy to God. Be right back.
Go. Untamed. Wake up. Yeah. Wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up. You better wake up from this dream. Life is not what it seems. This culture's not your reality. You better unplug or be a casualty. Cause the life that we lose in the drug and boozing is keeping us off from our greatness. We gotta spread the love and stop hating. Then rearrange these front pages. From murder and death to building our wealth. We moving in stealth. Milking the game till there's nothing left. And teaching my people to love themselves. I'm crashing on competition. That's an interference with the commission. Man, we tired of listening, so we standing up. Unification amongst us. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Big Sherm.
Big Sherm, fool.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And get over Big Sherm speech, man. You got to check it out.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
He let him know.
He put it down. Put it down. Real way.
Put it down.
Real way. Anthony Rogers right in the chat, chiming up on his issues. He says we also have to talk about the tyranny here at home in the form of OPPD who act more like Trump than Trump.
I mean, they just following the game plan. It's all connected. Come on, you talking about it? Cole.
There it is. OPPD lies to Trump. Coal still burning in release of fraudulent health risk assessment. I ain't never gonna forgive him for that one.
I mean,
coming out with a study talking about nobody's getting hurt in what?
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But they're just again just following the orders of Trump. Shout out to Nebraska Examiner. They just actually released an article earlier this month talking about how Trump is literally leaning on states to keep their coal plants open. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
especially in the face of this war and the impact that it's had on the global energy supply, they're holding on tight to all the fossil fuels that they can, man. So yeah, yeah, I feel you. I
Yeah,
feel you.
really are. And I appreciate Anthony Rogers Wright giving us some more of the backstory here about OPPD. If you don't know about this and you haven't dug in, OPPD has control over spending without oversight, like Trump and his tariffs. The OPPD raising our rates and their salaries without public oversight. I will never forget when somebody from our community walked up to me with a paper that she had in her back pocket showing the
Mm,
salaries of OPPD. People, the kind of money they're making over there. And it's supposed to be a public power district. It's just a trip. He also says OPPD does things in secret like Trump, like signing non-disclosure agreements with big tech corporations for the build out of data centers, also without community input or approval. On
mm.
the fight, trying to keep OPPD what it needs to be. So appreciate you continuing up on that, staying up on that, and reminding us about what the issues are here with this particular entity.
Hey.
For real, for real. With that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the thread. The first story, buddy. What's on the agenda for the first story?
Man, I'm just doing what brother Big Sherm said, man. We rearranging the front pages from murder and death to discovering wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
So yeah. So let's go ahead and start with the
bars.
affirmative. Yeah, yeah, hey, that's Big Sherm. That ain't Buddy the God. That's Big Sherm. I'm just listening. I'm just listening what he, picking up what he putting down.
There
Cause
you go.
it's the truth, man. Again, that's really something I like to do, and there is some intention behind that. In the news game, the old adage, "If it bleeds, it leads." And if you
Mm,
listen to a lot of the news, that's how it starts: murder, maim, death. It's not really our style around here, man. I like to start with some positive news sometimes when I can. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and start off with the babies. What's going down in Wakanda Elementary? Shout out to
hey,
KMTV News 3 for reporting on this. And yeah, this is our style. This is the direction we would like to see things to go. As far as again financial literacy, following the money, teaching the next generation how to save their coin. Mayor Sanchez, you might want to listen up on this one. But yes, Omaha Cares Mentoring and shout out to the sisters of AKA Alpha Kappa Alpha are teaming up to teach Wakanda elementary students how to budget and save money. So again, big shout out to OPS School Wakanda, which actually was my son's first school.
mm,
But yeah, still doing the work, man. Students at Wakanda are learning financial literacy and basic money management skills. Omaha Cares and Mentoring works with students every Thursday to be a positive force in the community. This is the first year the mentoring program has also teamed up with Alpha Kappa Alpha, which on a side note, we don't really talk about the Divine Nine or the presence of the Greek organizations, especially the Black Greek organizations in Omaha in general. But I would like to they getting busy. They getting busy, man. So yeah, shout out to the good sisters of AKA teaming up with Omaha Cares for this. In May, each student will receive a $50 stipend to put into a real savings account. We are introducing them to how money works at an early age so they know how it will impact their life, not just now, but in the future. That's according to Sheila Eats, who is a co chair of Building Economic Wealth for Alpha Kappa Alpha. Also, before receiving the funds, students must understand basic money management skills, such as the difference between a want and a need, an asset versus a liability, Paul, assets and
mm.
liabilities, and the idea of budgeting money coming in and going out seems simple, but doing it every day can be hard. Definitely. Also, big shout out to Pastor P. Who's the ladies and gents coordinator. She says our kids needs to see us and we need to share with them each and every day. So again, big shout out to the sisters. Directing the youth in the right direction as far as money management and those skills. Definitely, if anybody else knows of any organizations, any programs teaching financial literacy, especially to our youth, let us know. And if anybody has any connections to these sisters, we'd definitely love to talk to them. Money management. That's what we talk about this season.
There
Go
you
ahead.
go. I can tell you one person we're gonna talk to right now. My new friend Carnetta, I'm seeing over here in this picture. She's over here in
Hey.
the blue. She's with Carver Bank, and Carver Bank does have some literacy classes and things that they are running as well. And I've definitely been talking to her about maybe coming on the show and talking about some of this stuff too. So I will definitely reach out, like you said, some of the sisters that are doing this good work out here for sure. You at least got to know what's going on. You might want to oppose the system, but you at least got to know how to work within it when
Man.
it's what's
And
going down.
I'm glad you mentioned the Carver Bank, here because that's something we haven't really gotten into this season either, as far as follow the money. But some of the resources that are out there in the community, as far as just financial navigating, getting loans, dealing with banks, dealing with business ideas and things like that. We might have to dig into that. I don't know what you think about that, but
Well, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I've actually been putting a report together on it because
Okay.
every time I go to any of these events that Empowerment Network puts down, I end up using that to kind of meet who's in the room and see what organizations are there and what they're doing, what they have to offer. That's why I keep coming back saying I'm amazed about the kind of resources that we have right here. That it's just like right here. So
Man,
navigating through them, and we'll definitely start talking about a lot of those things that are happening before this season is out. Kind of my intention was to talk about those parts of the follow the money side of things as well. So you really highlight those. We're working on it now. Coming
big
soon.
time. Big time. Especially those with, bad, credit and kind of financial situations where you feel like you might kind of be stuck. There's resources out there. Like we say, we all we got, but that's enough. That's enough.
And
So
the thing that's hit me about this too is the fact that a lot of us have some good ideas but don't really have the financial background or understanding about how to make those things happen. That's where I'm feeling like we got a lot of resources because we got entities out here that are helping people from scratch, like helping people that they know are haven't done this before and not ready, and approaching things in that way to try to team up and build something.
mhm.
So that's the thing that's really striking me. It's not just it's not just help for people that already know what they're doing in business, but it's also help for people that are brand new. Just
Mhm.
how many times that you can ask any banker anywhere how many times people come in with a good idea. I think I want to open an amusement park. All right, sir, how much money you need? Well, I think $1 million will do it. And then
Mhm.
and then they have no paperwork. They got nothing prepared. They got no equity. They got no like they just
Just
they
a
just thought they was gonna walk in and get $1 million to start a park. So
yeah.
how many times does that happen? So banks will, most mainstream banks will just be like, yeah, come back when you're ready. But
Yeah.
these entities out here are like, well, let's try to develop your idea. And let me give you some steps on what you need, and come back later with this stuff taken care of. And that's the kind of thing that is happening here. So I think it's awesome. I really think it's something awesome. Mama God in the chat. Good morning. Says
Yeah.
I taught financial literacy at OPS High School when I worked at Wells Fargo. That's what I'm saying,
Man,
man.
forgot all about that.
The
Forgot all about that.
women
Yeah.
holding it down.
Yeah, I remember when she used to work with the immigrants. I definitely remember that. They used to have immigrant summits at Benson High School, and she would help with financial literacy. But yeah, 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 man, we can keep going on that. Again, follow the money. Big shout out to everybody doing the work on that because we need it. We do need it. Especially as you mentioned, talk about business ideas and developing the hood, man. And that's also something we're going to get into here in a second, as far as this grocery store coming to the Deuce. But the question is, again, the needs. What do we need in the community, and who will we like to see fulfill those needs? That's all a part of the question. And again, how can we make it happen? So that financial literacy, some of those resources are a part of it. But again, once you do get that, once you get the finances, get the support, you get the project going. What about community buy-in? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this grocery store, man. Again, and I do want to, kind of develop your, or really unfold, I guess, your ideas a little bit, Paul, about what you're saying. We were talking before the last episode about the food desert comment and the concept
Ooh.
of a food desert in the Deuce. So yeah, let's, kind of think about that, develop that thought. I'm gonna toss it to you here in a second, but I do want to dive into this article. We didn't get into it on Friday, excuse me. But again, there's been some chatter about this grocery store coming to 25th and Lake, specifically where there's a plot of land that plans are brewing to make it into a new grocery store. The idea is, of course, in early stages, but officials say it's a step in the right direction to breathe life back into North Omaha and officially the Deuce. A local developer is behind it. Of course, Susie Buffett Sherwood Foundation wants to build a 22,000 square foot grocery store and a 140 parking spots lot. Everything comes fast here. So that's a good spot, 25th and Lake. That's according to Anthony Lindsay, who is, of course, a longtime North Sider. He says it's real easy to get to. It's on a bus line for those who can't make it that far. So that's still good. Of course, Lindsay has seen shifts in North Omaha. Of course, we all have seen the Deuce change over the years. One person talking about Chubbs in the area says it was a Chubbs down there, but they took that down. Again, talking about the old location on 24th. saying the closest one is Phil's. Then you got to go way up to Saddle Creek to go like Family Fair, Walmart. Of course, you have all these up the road. But again, the idea and the feeling is that a grocery store is needed. Again, talking about community needs on the Deuce. Some are even calling it a food desert. One official in the area, Sister Lavanya Goodwin, of course, of the North 24th BID, and also Omaha City Council member. She says it really represents revitalization zone, which is a huge for the area. Again, the city is always considering three things: the people, housing, and amenities. She also goes on to say, can I get what I need in an accessible distance, whether that's walking or short drive or even a trip on the bus? Again, which brings me to the conversation I want to have with you, Paul, and you, Chat, as far as the North 24th being considered a food desert, and the idea that access to food specifically in that area is one of the needs of that area. Of course, we've been talking about some of the controversy going around Jackson's Fair Deal, one of the restaurants in that area. I haven't really talked about it much, but I've been seeing a lot of love, a lot of fanfare around the chicken company that just opened up over there on the Deuce. I know there's some other things. Shout out to the visitor center that just opened up with some coffee options and some other pastries and things like that. But Paul, you have some troubles, some problems with the Deuce being considered a food desert. Why? Why? Share your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think that this particular grocery store that they're talking about building on this particular area is a convenience. It's a convenience to have it there. I think people use this place as a food desert way too loosely. Because what is a food desert? The first time I was like, is there a grocery store that's needed around there? And I think somebody said to me, well, we don't have any place you can walk to. I was like, yeah, true, but you can drive somewhere in a minute or two. There's in everywhere in the city is like that. You can't. It's not like the city is not made up of neighborhoods where you can walk to the grocery store everywhere you go. Everybody gets in their car and goes to the grocery store, and there are grocery store options here. There's Aldi's up the street, and there is Phil's, and even though Cubs is down right now, Cubbies is down right now. They're rebuilding. They're bringing that one back, but there's also the Walmart up on 50th. We're still north side over there. I go to Baker's on 72nd. That's still like we get in our car and we go. So I feel like even though I feel like what they could have just went ahead and said we would like to have a grocery store here. It'd be convenient to have a small grocery store in that area. It's not a necessity. We don't need to keep on using this trope. We're in a food desert. I don't really feel like that's kind of the case in the area. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the definition of a food desert has to do with square footage in neighborhoods. How close you are to fresh
Mhm.
vegetables or whatever. But for the fact that we got all these that's literally a few blocks up from where that grocery store is going to be one stop over on the 75. You know,
Mhm.
it's close to that freeway entrance on Lake, and then you hop over to Ames, and then you're pretty much right there by Aldi. So like, to me, it's like the big why are we saying that that's the case? Just say it would be convenient to have a grocery store in that area, which I think it would. And it's not a full grocery store. To Mark Manner's point too, he's like
Facts now.
he's saying I hate the big grocery stores as a single person. I would love a decent small grocery store again and would go to that. And it's my if it's on my drive home.
Mm.
This one is like a smaller version. It's not going to be a massive like supermarket. It's definitely kind of a Walner. It looks like it's going to be like a Walner size
Mm.
small situation there. It will enhance the Deuce if we're talking about the Deuce and we're talking about building up what we're going to build for the Deuce. It would be great to have some other amenities around there where you didn't have to go outside of the Deuce to do things, but it's definitely inconvenience. And for me to approach it that way, then I start thinking, okay, well then what is the reason behind it? Then what's the real reason behind it? Let's first of all take away this whole
Mm.
idea that we got a food desert. We need this so bad over there. If it's not the case, then now it puts me in a different frame of mind as far as a question about like why is it needed? Well, for me, I feel like it would be a convenience. It's something that enhances the area. It's something that you can go to a brand new store out there. Will fill some of them empty lots that are out there and so on. Great. Then you got to go to the question of who's behind it. Of course, if Sherwood is the one that's putting it there, what does that mean for the neighborhood? A lot of people in our community have a problem with Sherwood building stuff in our neighborhood.
Mhm.
So again, what is the purpose of the grocery store? I still tend to lean towards this. If there's some progression here and there's something good happening, then it's a good thing. And it would be great if it was like a black owned grocery store or whatever, but it hasn't been. It's not like
Man.
it's not like they were holding stuff back and not letting us do that. Nobody was stepping up to do it. So like if it's here, it's here. You
So
know what I'm saying?
it's funny you said all of those things because if you remember, Paul, we had this specific conversation with a developer, a top developer in this specific area, actually.
Yeah.
If you remember when we were doing early on in the minus soul days, when we were doing the land bank story, we
Hmm.
talked to that developer who was on the board of the land bank at that time about building a grocery store in North Omaha and
Hmm.
why land bank land wasn't used for those types of things and what's the we got into the business sense behind it and if people will support it and who would and it's just very interesting. All of that is coming back, and just to kind of give y'all a little insight, when we had the conversation, we kind of walked away with the sense like, yeah, they don't really care about the North. Like, it's if it doesn't make business sense, it's all about dollars and cents at the end of the day, which is
Yeah.
understandable. But again, how do you address needs, in the community,
Right. Yeah.
especially with a entity like the land bank, which
Well,
was,
well, well, there's so many different ways to assess needs. That's my point.
mm,
Like as far as business is concerned, we need more business in North Omaha. So
mhm,
is a business need, sure, that brings more jobs, more money flowing, so on and so forth. But they sometimes they mix it up with needs of like people are over there starving because they can't get to no green vegetables like down
yeah,
the street. Like
yeah.
no, there's poverty needs and then there's convenience needs, there's business needs, there's all these different kinds. So how are we assessing this? Um,
Kind of how they try to frame Africa, where everybody got bloated stomachs and flies on their nose, and you know what I mean. Like,
Anthony Rogers Wright says smells a lot like a Trojan horse for gentrification. And again, I don't really have a problem with gentrification as long as we're the ones gentrifying. I have a problem with
mm,
colonization, which we can make the argument that if it's an entity like Sherwood coming in, it might be colonization, but that
mm,
has not been my experience with them as
true.
well. Some of the people that I talk to that kind of are in the know understand Sherwood has come in and done some things to enhance the neighborhood, and then are working on getting ownership back to the people that are in those buildings. Like for instance, Styles of Evolution is one of the entities that got their building upgraded, and they talk about what their deal is. They're
Mhm.
happy that Sherwood came in and revitalized the neighborhood and revitalized their building and put the new plumbing in and did all the stuff. And they're going to pay rent for a while, and then they have a deal with them where they're going to buy the building back. So like, there's been some investment from Sherwood as well that nobody really wants to talk about. It just seems like all colonization all the time. Um, but at the same time, like, who's stepping up? Who's stepping up to do it? It would be great. It'd be great to have a black grocery store in North Omaha. And for the most part, it's going to be. I'm sure there's going to be many of black people working there, many black people shopping there. Not
Yeah.
ownership, not ownership. But again, we've been needing this for a while. You talk about the buy-in that we talk about all
Mhm.
the time. Who's buying in?
Right.
That's kind of the question.
So
So go ahead.
to that point, I want to just throw a couple things out there. I see the chat going off. I want you to finish your thought. So I just want to throw this in there real quick. You talk about buy-in. This is actually something I've been talking to my friends from high school about for years. But the idea of a community-owned or employee-owned grocery store, I've kind
Mhm.
of seen like Hy-Vee with that model. I haven't really examined the model closely, but just the idea, talking about buy-in, that's a step further, beyond just the community supporting the restaurant, actual employee ownership of a restaurant, kind of co-op type deal. I know that business model exists in other areas in the country. What does that look like in Omaha? So just kind of putting that on the table. And then I do have a definition for a food desert if you wanted to kind of add that
Mhm.
to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Because you put out the question, what is a food desert exactly? So this is per the USDA. So again, this is government issued a
Sus already.
definition. Yes, sir. So census tracts qualify as food deserts if they meet low income and low access thresholds. The low income threshold means a poverty rate of 20% or greater, or a median family income at or below 80% of the statewide or metropolitan area median family income, which I think per this definition, the deuce may fall under that low income definition per the USDA. Maybe. But low access, I think, is kind of the bigger thing that you're talking about as far as
Right.
food desert is access. As far as the low access threshold, it says at least 500 persons or at least 33% of the population lives more than 1 mile. So the marker is 1 mile from a supermarket or large grocery store. So that's the definition as far as access. 1 mile from a supermarket or large grocery store. So the deuce, you kind of got that fair deal market with even with this grocery store that they'll be building. Not quite a large grocery store or supermarket. What will be the closest supermarket? Would that be Walmart? Is Aldi's a supermarket? Is that
Aldi's is kind of a small boutique market as well. I don't think it's
yeah, right,
considered
right.
a supermarket. No, um, fresh fruits and vegetables there though,
Word.
which is what
Right.
yeah. Well, that's interesting that they're part of the food desert definition has to do with people's income around the area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not just are there fresh vegetables, fruits and vegetables for you to be able to reach, but it's also do you have the money to access them? Do you have the money
Can
to
you
buy it?
afford it? Right,
Right.
right,
Can you
right, right.
afford it? So how is a grocery store in our neighborhood solve that issue? Because now
Well,
we're talking about if they don't have if we're below poverty levels, then there needs to be something there to bring some jobs first in order for you to be able to buy the
mm,
groceries that are at the store. So how does the grocery store then solve the food desert issue if everybody surrounding that area is too broke to buy from there?
I think that's the chicken egg conundrum we've kind of been in, during this whole business development conversation in general. Like we got this insorg money coming into North and South Omaha and these businesses being developed, but where's the jobs to support them? So yeah, I think all of this is very poignant, and yeah, I think it's what we've been talking about. Actually,
Mm.
speaking of that, the chat's going off. I don't know how you feel, Paul.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely jump in. Michael Lee in the chat. Good morning. Says, I mean, technically, it is a food desert, especially with lack of fresh food items. I'm glad you read the definition there. That's what's up.
Hmm.
Kimmer Snipes in the chat. Good morning. She's Kimmer says in the know. Keywords in the know. What did she say before that? Yeah, appreciate you coming in there with a good morning. Also, Anthony
Yeah.
Rogers Rice says Ernie Chambers disagrees with you, Paul. The colonizers always come with gifts for those willing to be colonized and eventually become collaborators. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
progress is made in a bunch of different kinds of ways, though. So it might not. I don't know if that definition really applies all the way. I mean, it's debatable.
Two
Uh,
things can be true at once.
right. There you go. Kimmer Snipes says it's definitely a food desert. Now that we're understanding
Okay.
exactly what that means, Anthony Rogers Wright also says more, or maybe get on the Zoran Mandami train in publicly owned grocery stores. If
Okay.
we can have public power, why not public grocery stores? Public grocery stores, co-op grocery stores, black-owned grocery stores.
All of it. Right.
These are all things that we could have, and we have not had. So the other point to me is if nobody's stepping up to do that, I would love to have a black owned grocery store close to walking distance from my house. I would love to have that. I can't make it though. I'm not going to build a grocery store. Like I'm not a grocery store cat. I'm not going to be able to do that. So I have to rely on somebody else to do that. Do we have other people that are talking about doing it? Does this whole idea of we're in a food desert is that determination there so that people can say, okay, well, here's the problem then. So let's go out here and try to find some solutions to that problem. And has anybody done that? Has anybody went out and said, hey, we got a black neighborhood over here that's in a food desert. We need a black grocery store. Come on through and be that. Has anybody done that? Because we don't even know if that's happened. All I know is that there's an empty lot sitting there. We're calling the place a food desert, and somebody in Sherwood and them are coming in now and saying we're going to build that because they've been part of the revitalization of the scene. They absolutely been working with people like Lavanya Goodwin, who also agrees that this would be a good thing to have in the area for especially this particular area, the Benson and the sorry, not the Benson, the BID, the Business Improvement District of 24th and Lake Street area. This is a business and it's an improvement to have a place that people can go to and walk to and so on and so forth in that particular area. So, so it's like you said, it could be holding two truths at the same time. It's a good thing. Is it the start of our of our neighborhood getting taken over? Has it already been taken over? These are questions that are constant, that have been constant with this platform, especially because we keep on finding out both things. Sometimes it seems like there's people that are holding on to properties and stuff like that. We can talk about the OEDC thing and the fair deal issue and so on.
Right, right,
And
right.
and then there's people there's entities like Sherwood that have their own things invested in here as well. There's entities where Sherwood and OEDC and other places have teamed up to do things. There's a lot going on, but we also see a lot of building, a lot of things happening around here too. So, what is it?
Right.
What's the deal?
Man, that's really the question. What's the deal? Anthony Rogers Wright saying there's a big empty lot up on Evans Street named after a black revolutionary that could be used to address food apartheid. Just saying. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be done on the Dukes, but who's doing it?
A lot of
That's
places,
kind of
right?
right, right. There's a lot of opportunity. I mean, some people look at dilapidation, some people look at opportunity. It just depends on perspective. But who's doing it is really the question.
Yeah.
So
Mama got in the chest. His family fair may be closing when they redevelop the block or land. RG says, I think Baker's on 30 is the last supermarket on the north side.
mm,
Well, I don't know. What do you, like I said, what do you consider the north side, bro? Because isn't Walmart in the north side?
yeah,
Isn't
I'm thinking
Baker's
that
on the
yeah.
north side and 72nd? So, yeah, interesting. Anthony Rogers Rice says food desert implies a natural unintentional scarcity, whereas food apartheid highlights systematic racism, economic inequality, and intentional policy decisions that create food disparities.
Agreed.
Like that definition, definitely understanding that. He says
Word.
there's also Wanda Lu's giving us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you coming in this morning. So yeah, we can pick up the conversation a little later on the second hour. But yeah, I really think that because we haven't even really talked about some of the comments that have come in on Friends of First Sky Omaha about this grocery store as well.
So to that point, actually, there's a lot of I want to get into today. So
Hmm.
we kind of spend a little more time than expected on this. But to that point of comments and what people have to say, our style isn't to just talk about these things and not kind of give you some kind of marching orders of some things to do about it. So there will be opportunity for public hearing on April 1st with the city's planning department about this. Again, this whole idea is still early on, so I'm glad that there's so much spirited conversation about this, so much feeling, so many thoughts about this. Again, have an opportunity to have your voices heard. Again, the city's planning department will be holding a public hearing on April 1st. We'll try to share more information on that on Friends of First Sky Omaha on Facebook. But yeah, here's opportunity to, do something about it. At least, let the people who are making the decisions have your voices heard. So again, yeah, yeah, yeah. Chime up, speak up. Don't just, Twitter fingers and trigger fingers. You know what I mean? Get out in the
Twitter finger.
streets.
Yeah, in them streets.
Yeah, get on
No
them
kidding.
streets. Boots to the roots. Let's go.
Man, 7:48 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and you're in Omaha, Nebraska, we'll take a very, very short break and then we'll come back and jump back into the conversation. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us and hanging with us. Thanks for all the spirited comments as well. Like Buddy is saying, really appreciate that and appreciate you. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
Paul B. Buddy to God. We'll be right
Man,
back, y'all.
speaking again in the streets, no kings next.
Hey. No kings. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. First
Hey,
Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
Paul B. Buddy to God. What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's been a good Monday so far. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys
Yeah.
getting up early with us this morning. Mama God says April Fool's Day meeting. Hope they hope they're not trying to fool us. I heard that. I heard that.
Ding ding.
I'm all for it. I think it's a good move. It'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of new development over there. As a matter of fact, we went looking at houses over there recently too, man. And these are houses that OEDC owns, built and owned, and are selling around the area of that grocery store, around down the street from it as well. There's a lot of new construction happening all over the place. Like I said, for the most part, I feel like it's a good thing. But yeah, we'll continue to talk about it and get into it as we move along here, because I think that especially the Deuce is going to be an area that we really, really are trying to. We would love to be a part of the revitalization of that situation there. So
Man,
yeah, it's
man,
the historic most important black corner on in Nebraska. So
man. I gotta tell you, I got a painting from my man Stewie Dunn. As a painting, he got the deuce of just like the Ritz and just all the spots. Man, I look at that painting all the time. It's in my room. I'm just like, if only, if only.
hey, it's coming, man. I really feel
Hey,
like
man, let's go.
we're excited about the changes that are happening here, that are closer to anything that the old stories they talk about, when it was thriving,
Man,
really coming together. And
there
that
you
we got to
go.
talk about it.
Yeah, man. Just getting started, really. So, yeah, yeah. Again, April 1st. Have your voices heard on that situation with all the things going on with the grocery store. But big shout out to those of you out in the streets tuned in with us right now. What's the word, man? What's the word?
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the next topic. We got the second hour coming up very shortly as well, where we kind of get loose and have more discussion about this. So stick around. Anthony Rogers Wright put a post in Friends of First Sky Omaha that was pretty interesting. We want to try to expound on
Mm.
some of that. Stay tuned for that in the
Yeah,
next hour as well. But in the meantime, between time, what's next on the agenda, buddy?
yeah, man. As I mentioned before the break, no kings. Again, talking about getting in the streets, having your voices heard, and this weekend was possibly one of the most exemplary weekends of that in American history. Again, the No Kings rallies. Some are saying one of the biggest protests, anti-war, anti-administration protests in history. Again, many cities saw sometimes, in some cases, multiple rallies going on at the same time. Again, in the spirit of the No Kings protest, decrying the tyranny really that we've been seeing from the Trump administration. But of course, not just the Trump administration, but like as we've seen in Nebraska, also calling some of those of the Trump ilk, like Governor Pillen. So again, big shout out to those of you who are out there on the streets. There's a lot of things to dissect with this, as far as just the No Kings, what they're protesting, who's protesting, what's next, which actually is a question posed by Nebraska Examiner. I do want to dive into here in a second, but first and foremost, just talking about the spirit of No Kings. Of course, we've been talking about everything Trump related, where this country is going, what's going on, and again, I'm kind of curious, who do we see out there? What's the idea? I really appreciate how the Nebraska Examiner is posing the question, like, what's next? What is next? Of course, this isn't the first No Kings rally, so are we going to keep having these, or what's the next move? Of course, the point is opposing President Trump's administration. Organizers expected millions of people who turned out. Again, as I mentioned, this was not the first. It's actually the third round of No Kings demonstrations, with more than 3,000 local level events mapped on the movement's official website. Of course, previous No Kings protests held in June and October of 2025 were among the largest single day demonstrations in U.S. history. As I mentioned, that's according to Harvard University's Crowd Counting Consortium data project that documents political protests and other demonstrations around the country. Driving, of course, the No Kings movement at the national level are prominent progressive organizations, including Indivisible, 5051, and Move On. But of course, demonstrations are organized on a local level by coalitions of hundred progressives, labor unions, religions, communities, to nonprofits, and dedicated to issues such as education, climate, gun control, and immigration. Paul, I mentioned that even Omaha's made the New York Times. So of course, a lot of things going on as far as the local level. But I did want to share Brother Sherman's comment, and kind of as we get into the second hour, really kind of dissect some of the things that he's been talking about. If that's okay, Paul, share.
Mhm.
1 second. Again, this is a shout out to Big Sherm, man. He kind of took some time to recharge himself, but getting back to the streets, and doing it in a way that only Sherm can. So check this out.
I got asked to do this. I initially was going to say no. Well, I actually said no 3 times. And on the 4th time, when somebody asked me, I finally said yeah, because that person reminded me that with the work that we're doing in the community, our voices still needed to be heard. So that's why I'm here. All right. So a lot of people been saying that, black people is sitting this one out. But let me let you in on something. We're not sitting this one out because this is something that we've been fighting our whole life. Okay? Since birth and for decades. And we've been sounding the alarm about the same type of treatment we are seeing today. Back then, our elders were attacked by dogs and hosed down in the streets, publicly executed. Our elders didn't just march for freedom, they bled and they died for freedom. Just to get where we are today, we are still seeing people being killed on camera. Like my 22-year-old cousin, Amir Locke, who was killed February 2nd, 22, by the Minneapolis SWAT team while sleeping on a couch at his cousin's house. No charges for that officer. My cousin never stood a chance, and they almost got away with it by hiding behind Trump's qualified immunity. However, the court extensively reviewed the video footage of the shooting and found that the officer was not entitled to qualified immunity. So this fight goes on for Amir.
Man,
Wow.
man, yeah, and that's just the beginning. You can definitely check out his full speech on Friends of First Sky Omaha, or check him out if you follow him on social media. But yeah, man, Big Sherm kind of setting the tone for a lot of us. And we'll kind of get into what he mentioned as far as the feeling, the sentiment that black folk are sitting this one out here in a second. But before we get into that, I do want to get into the six to dismiss of it all, because again, we've been talking about this, we've been fighting, we've been pushing, and it's not just Trump, but it's a whole line. It's a there's a whole list, a whole line of people that again, no kings, and we call Pillin Trump Jr. for a reason. And I do want to again get into, have you heard any names? Let's really start talking about some names. Let's really start looking at who's running. We're now a month and a half, maybe a little less than that, away from midterm, the midterm primary. And again, Pillin is on that list. As Nebraska Examiner is reporting, is it a foregone conclusion, inevitable, that Pillin will be making a return? Of course, they starting with the money. This is follow the money. So again, Pillin has $10 million and a clear path to GOP primary, according to this article from Nebraska Examiner. Of course, some look at Nebraska's Governor Jim Pillin's second term as inevitable. But the governor of a red state where Republicans outnumber Democrats 2-1, and a growing number of nonpartisans face no serious Republican opponent after more than a year of loud and persistent threats of a well-funded GOP primary challenger. Again, according to this Nebraska Examiner article, the lack of a credible GOP threat leaves the incumbent governor with a $10 million political war chest raised in anticipation of possible threat of a three-headed Republican primary. He won back in 2022. Of course, there was a lot of comments about Herbster possibly making a return to challenge him. I believe Herbster has since dropped out of that situation. And again, Pillin has made no secret that he's inclined to use some of his millions on campaigns other than his own, kind of also bolstering his political cachet, if you will. Now, of course, we've seen him kind of back campaigns already with his staff telling state lawmakers who disagree with his agenda that they could face his wrath, again, using his money to flex his political muscle. Of course, one GOP lawmaker on Pillin's team has pressure to support increasing the services subject to sales tax. Of course, State Senator Tanya Storr of Whitman, a lawmaker from North Central who opposed Pillin's attempt, said that Pillin, plain and simple, conservatives don't raise taxes. Again, talking about Pillin's tax moves, Storr said she would only support a tax increase if there's a direct offset to decrease property taxes. Apparently, one GOP lawmaker who could be going against Pillin. Also, Pillin's political team has also actively tried to recruit challengers to GOP candidates who have blocked some of his efforts, including, of course, State Senator Merv Reapy of Ralston, who's been pushing some Pillen-backed bills, who opposed, of course, the governor's push for a 6 week abortion ban. No, excuse me, Merv Reapy, who opposed governor's 6 week, abortion ban. So again, that would be one of the GOP political candidates. But again, posing the question, names, any names that we've seen. Of course, the GOP path is going to be clear for Pillen, but any nonpartisan Democrats, have you heard any names, Paul? We got to push the
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We have heard one name that's out there, Lynn Walls. Oh, this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
horrible picture. Sorry about that, y'all. This is a horrible graphic. But Lynn Walls is running for governor. This is somebody who's a Democrat. The Dems are back, and I've been hearing her name a lot, and I haven't had a chance to dig in a little bit, but have heard from some friends that this is the one that they're getting behind. So I've been kind of just peeping out the name and just making sure that I'm looking and seeing if I'm seeing anybody talking about her in the news, or if there's anything coming up that she's doing. Democratic Party, of course, are having a lot of meet the candidate events and stuff like that going on now. So that's where she's been popping up. But does anybody else know about Lynn Walls and what she's all about, how it stands? I think to me, I feel like this. I'm seeing more chatter from the Democratic Party on her than anybody else,
Mhm.
and so I think that'll be the person that they're trying to have battle Pillen. But the question is, who can battle Pillen? Because there's a little bit of kind of I think one of the headlines to the stories was, is he inevitability? Is there is
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
like is that just a given, or is there an actual fight here? Is the question. So let us know. Mark Manner says it is Lynn versus pedo supporting Pillen.
That is the race,
That is
according
the
to Brother
race.
Mark Manner.
That is the race. So there you go. It is Lynn. So yeah, Lynn Walls. What do you know? How do you know? What's happened? Also, RG in the chat says, as it stands, a pig swill Pillen. You got yeah. We got some names
Got
for
the
it. No,
man.
I
Oh
think I
man,
stopped at Ellen Pillen back in the day.
man, right. Hey, Piggy Pillen.
Pillen has 2 Dem opponents and 5 GOP opponents. Yeah, I looked at that list of GOPs. I never even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anthony Rush on what are we talking about here? Oh, so this is getting into this conversation. We'll get into that in a second, but
Mhm.
just to name, I think that is the name, that is the person. So as a matter of fact, in my research of trying to set up some interviews with people who are running for those seats of 6 to dismiss, that's the only name that keeps on popping up here, because that's who the Democrats are backing. So
Lynn Walls.
Lynn Walls, yeah, we'll
Mhm.
definitely have to dig in there. Mark Miller says we need to push, support, and vote with everything we have. But thinking Republicans in rural Nebraska are voting for a liberal woman, yeah, I don't think so. So that's my point. Is there, we already know it's going to be a fight, but is it a fight that anybody can win? Is kind of the what we get to. Not that that's going to change what you do, but
Mhm.
we also would love to be realistic about what's going on there, because it may be something that can be done once you just get down to the nitty gritty of the fact that it doesn't look like she'll beat him. Then maybe some other extra efforts will start kicking in with people on trying to make that happen, because we have to be honest about it, probably won't. So if
Man,
you really wanted to, then start with the honesty and move to the plan.
and be realistic about what that means. If he does win, we've seen the Trump loyalism. We've seen it. This article kind of lays it out, pretty nice. Pillen's loyalty to Trump might also boost Democratic turnout after he has repeatedly tried and failed to shift the state to awarding its electoral college voters for president. Of course, the one vote wins all kind of argument. Again, winner take all. Nebraska, under his watch, was the first in the country to implement new federal work requirements for Medicaid recipients starting last year. Of course, and we'll get into here in a second as far as Pillen and what you've been talking about, his seemingly willingness, to push Nebraska into a prison state, which it already is, hasn't really done anything about the federal overcrowding, and is actually, getting more and more overcrowded. Just got sued over the McCook situation, basically calling Trump to jump on the whole, what was it, the alligator Alcatraz bandwagon, which there's some news about that situation. And just the reality that, while the world is trying to separate itself from the history of slavery and, mass incarceration. America's doubling down,
Tripling down.
tripling down, quadrupling down.
Oh man, Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying Pillen can't be beaten by a political campaign. He can only be beaten by a political movement. Walls has not shown she knows the difference at this time. Okay,
Okay.
Good. I appreciate your opinion there. Mark Manner says,
Mhm.
well, he is going to use his funds to get more conservatives in unicameral, and then we are completely hosed as the state unless you look like Pillen and his people, which I do. Appreciate that insight. Mama God said, first to limit food choices for EBT recipients. Yeah, we can start
Yeah,
going
man.
down the list of things.
Come
We
on,
can go
man.
down the list of reasons why the dismissing needs to happen for sure.
Right. But who we gonna replace? Who we gonna admit? We can't just dismiss. We gotta admit. You know what I mean? Who we gonna bring in?
Right.
Who's gonna replace it?
And I appreciate Anthony Rogers Wright's point because I feel the same way about this. There is a candidate, and there is somebody who the Democratic Party is putting efforts behind to get on Lynn Walls.
Mhm.
And I
There
but
you go.
that thing, yeah, I had to find something decent. That's all I need to do is when I go interview her, then she's just like, hey, yeah, but you put a real grainy picture of me up when I did. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So, but that is the point. The point is that it's not going to be because of voting, because of just straight the democratic process and everything else that's happened, especially with all this pushback, all this fight that's happening with the voting situation and how this administration is really sabotaging that. We got to talk about a sheriff in Riverside, California, who just seized a bunch of ballots. We'll come back to that. But the fight that's happening here is fighting at the polls here, just fighting just the continuous kind of way that politics has been running, where the race comes up and they put a bunch of money in and get your candidate out there and get them hyped. That doesn't seem like it's going to work anymore. It does seem like it needs to be a movement, not a what did he say? What did Anthony Rogers Rice say? Not a campaign, not a political campaign. Like, it has to be something big happening, a huge movement happening here with it, and you do have to be the kind of leader that can inspire that kind of movement from everybody, from all sides. Needs all hands on deck.
Speaking of movements, Mama God kind of reminding us of some things that are happening in other, political strongholds around the nation, notably Florida. She says, "Well, Mar-a-Lago flipped. Could it be possible, even challenging endeavor?" Again, talking about the seat that Trump's Mar-a-Lago villa sits in, just got flipped to a Democrat. So again, is there a political movement? So some changes.
I kind of got that on my list to dig in. I kind of want to know about. I want to figure out like how that happened, because there might be some insights there on how to. That was a pretty huge. That's a pretty huge move right there.
I'm saying
For Florida,
Speaking of
period.
movements.
Let alone that district.
Right. Speaking of movements,
Michael Lee says, "I want to know where is Ricketts' money is going. That is who we need to watch too." Yeah.
man. I mean, that's kind of the sentiment from this Nebraska Examiner article. They keep calling it his war chest. The amount, just the allotment of money that he has from past donations, from past victories, from Trump loyalism, and how that money will be directed. And yes, the sentiment is he will back other legislators and back other people running for other offices that will again help bolster his political agenda. It's chess, not checkers, man, and they're playing it.
You remember when Ricketts left and all that maneuvering they did to get him?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
It was almost like they placed Pillen in the spot in the first place. Like, there was a lot of maneuvering and a lot of money flowing when that transition happened. Remember that?
And where did Ricketts end up? Ricketts ain't on a golf course. He's in D.C. Still pushing the agenda. Still pushing the line. Still making it happen. Getting the big, beautiful bill passed.
That was the plan. They had an actual plan. There was money behind candidates, and it felt like people got pushed in. Kind of a trip. Michael, also, Marlon Harrison says there are still huge Trump supporters in Nebraska and Iowa, even after he destroyed their farms and ranches and made them lose lots of money. Yeah. because the alternative for them is just worse. It's the hate is just incredible. Anthony
Hmm.
Rogers Rice says California is about to elect a GOP governor due to a Democratic Party incompetence. California, y'all. I think that it's more than Democratic Party incompetence that's happening over there for sure. But they are actually in California are actually had pushed some people up front that was supposed that appeared to be more liberal and then we're actually kind of conservative people like in behind the scenes
What they call
and
them,
that type
Dinos.
of thing is going on over there, right? Like it's pretty insane. And this sheriff that's running for governor that just seized a bunch of ballots, like there's it's problematic. We gotta get into it.
Mm.
Got to get into it.
Actually, speaking of that, I got an update on the Fulton County situation.
Yes.
FBI seizing their ballots down here while we're kind of talking about the national landscape of elections. You want to hop into that, or
Go
was you
ahead.
going to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, this coming out of Nebraska Examiner actually. Fulton County Justice Department setting a battle of custody of the 2020 election documents. Again, if you remember, Trump's FBI came right down here, couple miles away from where I'm at right now, and stormed the Fulton County election office, seizing hundreds of boxes of 2020 election records. Again, the hearing, which is held in federal courthouse in Atlanta, was scheduled for last week after the judge announced that attempts at mediation has been unsuccessful. A justification, of course, of the raid relied heavily on recycled claims of irregularities during the 2020 election, which critics say have already been adjudicated or debunked. Again, there's been dozens of court cases that have pretty much thrown out and all but debunked the claim that the 2020 election was rigged. However, Fulton County, which is home of the city of Atlanta, was also at the center of Trump's baseless claims that the 2020 election was stolen specifically in Georgia, one of the major swing states. If you remember, there was an infamous phone call of Trump basically directing, demanding that election officials in Georgia fine him thousands. Like, I don't care where, but find my votes.
He was like, make it enough.
Make it enough. But again, here we are. Attorney Michael Weisbuck, who represented the federal government, argued that federal agents who drafted the affidavit included opposing perspectives, that the raid didn't amount to a callous disregard of the county's rights. However, Judge J.P. Booley, a Trump appointee, did not say when he would issue a ruling in the case. So it is ongoing. Speaking to reporters after the hearing, Fulton County Commissioner Chair Rob Pitts expressed concern about the Trump administration attempting to take control over elections and said the federal government could use similar tactics to seize election documents in other states. So again, this is all setting the stage not just for Pillen's race, but all races across the country to be within question, to be kind of side-eyed, to be wary of. And again, we've seen, of course, TSA, our ICE take over and make its way into airports and take over TSA. There's been some whispers, some, suggestions that TSA might make their way to the polls in November and possibly in some of the primaries in other states. Don't have much to say about that, but just setting the stage. In this whole conversation of six to dismiss, we have to acknowledge where we are in this political state right now.
Well, Anthony Rogers, right? I felt put it best. It can't be a political campaign. It has to be a movement that is going to change any of this stuff. And we got to kind of start from there. Jay Hanna in the chat giving us a good morning. Good morning to you, man. Appreciate you and all your support always.
Please.
Thank you for coming on through. I appreciate everybody's comments. Everybody's fired up about this. I'm glad we're touching on this on the second hour. We are in the second hour now, well into it. It's 8:13 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and you live in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're well into the second hour where we kind of loosen it up a little bit to have more conversation about some of these issues, what it is we think, feel, and more importantly, what can we do about it? What are the things we can do? Before we get back into it, we'll go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll jump back into the conversation after that. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddy to God. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God.
Hey.
You know what we forgot to tell y'all, please do us a favor and share the show on your page.
Hey.
Share the show.
Let
If
'em
you're
know.
here checking us out, if you're on Facebook, share it on your page. If you're on YouTube, please share the link. We really appreciate that. We kind of have no clue today on what's going on with YouTube and Facebook. It's kind of not giving us the feedback that it usually does. So
Man.
I appreciate you guys in the chat. Whoever's in the
Right.
chat chatting is how we kind of know anybody's checking it out today. So that's what it is with these platforms. These platforms, y'all, they give us the blues.
Man.
Real way.
Do what they want.
Yep. So anyway, with that, we appreciate everybody that's joining us today, and we'll jump back into the conversation. Buddy, where we at? Where we at here?
Yeah, man, talking about all the things and I guess what we can do about it, or what we should
Yes.
do about it, or what we could do about it, or what we would do about it. I don't know. Let's let's dive into it, man. I do appreciate Brother Mark Manor's comments, and this is kind of where I want to go in this last hour of the conversation. Really, for those who know me, I'm a history buff, and I like to put things into context. That helps me. That helps me. And when I look at what just happened in the UN, it brings a lot of things into context as far as some countries' willingness to acknowledge, what has happened to my people, um, and some countries' unwillingness to acknowledge what has happened to my people. What does that mean, for today's politics? What does that mean for what's going on in today and how I view it? And Mark Manor brought a question that kind of lose itself to the conversation I want to have. He says, talking about Pillin, he is going to use his funds to get more conservatives in unicameral, and then we are completely hosed as a state unless you look like people, or unless you look like Pillin and his people, which Mark Manor says I do. And I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your, recognition. And I'm getting on this because there's some sentiment around this No Kings rally and who came out to the rally and who didn't. And we've been asking the question as far as the diversity of it. And again, as you kind of seen, Brother Sherman Wells acknowledged it during his speech, saying that he wasn't even going to come out. It took people asking him 3-4 times for him to finally say, all right, let's come out and have our voices heard. Because the reality is, we've been speaking about this. We've been saying this. We've been seeing the writing on the wall. We've been living it. So us finding it in today's No Kings rallies or whatever else happens next, it's a fruitless endeavor. It's a fruitless endeavor. And we already see the writing on the wall. It's not just as far as the United States, Israel, and Argentina, not just abstaining, but voting against recognizing slavery in the transatlantic slave trade as one of the worst human chapters ever, but doubling down on the incarceration, the snatching, the disappearing of peoples. Let's just get into what's going on with the ICE situation as far as detention goes. Of course, starting with Nebraska side, and because there is this Cornhusker clink that Pillin took upon himself. Let's remember that nobody asked him to do this. He put out the call and stepped on the gas as far as the situation. And the Nebraska Examiner is reporting. Shout out to Senator Margot Juarez, who we actually had here on the show, friend of First Sky Omaha, and a sister who's been pounding the pavement, if you will, and kind of giving her take on the situation. Again, her district is about 5-hour drive from the town of about 7,200 residents, talking about McCook. She says she was relieved to see more humane scenario when she had read and heard about other places where U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement holds immigrants awaiting deportation. Among improvements she has noticed since her last visit in December, migrants get a cafeteria dinner rather than a brown bag meal in the evenings. Ooh, they're getting fed. Religious appropriate food is available, and work started on expanding the number of showers. Ooh, more showers. Yes. Heavy construction could signal better accommodations for migrants, Juarez said, but it has also alarmed her, as she said it, reinforced escalating costs to carry out President Donald Trump's mass deportation effort. she opposes. Of course, Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen teamed up with Trump administration to repurpose what was once a rehabilitation work camp for low-risk Nebraska male inmates. Again, federal funds are paying the rent and rehab the all-male prison, which holds about 200 people, to grow it to 300 bed capacity. Again, more overcrowding. But the fight continues. Shout out to those who have been pushing the lawsuits for this situation. But again, there is an update even in that, as Governor Pillen seems to have had the lawsuit dropped. Again, a lawsuit against Governor Jim Pillen regarding the use of the at the camp in McCook has been dismissed. Former state lawmaker Diane Shimmick is one of the plaintiffs in the case. Shimmick believed Pillen exceeded his authority under state law by allowing the federal government to use the facility pretty much without any input from legislators. When the suit was filed last fall, Pillen asserted the court lacked jurisdiction and the plaintiffs lacked standing. Attorneys representing the plaintiffs say they will likely appeal the decision. So the fight is ongoing to see this closed down. I mean, of course, we heard some of the improvements that's in, if you want to call them that, like again, more showers. That, I mean, this is the bare minimum we're talking about giving some of these people who, mind you, didn't commit any crimes. Let's keep it there. These aren't the rapists and the pillagers that they've been claiming that they're capturing. So I'm saying all of this to say the United States is doubling down in some of the same incarceration and some of the same dehumanization that we've been seeing. But whose job is it now to fight that? Before we get into that, Paul, what say you?
I don't have much to say. I'm ready to get into the next part. I appreciate I appreciate that sentiment. I think we know what's really going down there. I think we see the doubling down when it comes to the incarceration, not just with them, but ICE facilities, ICE buying up warehouses and stuff like that in order to house people. We've even seen the heiress to Walmart put out a full page New York Times ad saying release these people that aren't criminals. 85% of the people that are being detained by ICE have no criminal background. So we're hearing a lot, seeing a lot, and we already know that that's what it is. So there you go. Marlon Harrison in the chat says, as an historian too, some of us have been talking about how the U.S. doesn't like to hold people accountable. After the Civil War, none of the Confederates were held accountable for their actions. Yeah. So holding accountable is the deal. But I like where you're going with it. I like the fact that we need to talk about who's in this fight and what the fight is, who's in it. Appreciate that. For those of you that are coming back, I believe that we got dumped off of Facebook, and that's what one of the issues was. Yeah. So it seems to be working now. So for those of you that are back on, if you're on Facebook, let us know if you come back. Appreciate it. Looks like YouTube stayed steady. So I think most of our comments are coming from there. Do us a favor, just jump over to YouTube. We don't really know what's going on with Facebook anyway. So appreciate that. He says, Anthony Rogers says, Marlon, the Confederate rebels were given reparations. Yeah. Don't forget about that. Man. They gave them reparations. Mama Guy said, Mama Guy's on Facebook. Okay, cool. We must be back. She says, this is who the country is and what it was built on.
For sure. I mean, not just the Confederates. Remember, after World War II, a lot of Nazi scientists were given jobs. Safe haven.
Yeah. So who's the fight? Where does the fight go, and who's behind it? What do we do?
Let's go ahead and pick that up again here in the last 6 or so, 36 or so minutes of the show. Yeah, man, the question, I've been seeing it as far as the No Kings rallies. I've been seeing it on a lot of posts. I've been seeing the sentiment kind of make its way around social media. I've been seeing it in the news headlines around the No Kings rallies. The idea that there's a certain demographic that's there and a certain demographic that's not. And people are asking why. Actually, Paul, do you have that clip of the lady at the protest, or was that a picture or what?
Yeah, it was a picture, but let's dive in before we introduce that, because I want to take it back to what Sherman was talking about. Sherman actually addressed that in the beginning. We talked about it, then kind of went off. But Sherman in the beginning was like, he's not even he's people were asking him to show up. He was not going to at first. It took them 3 times to get him out there. Why? What is going on with what people are assuming is the people that should be in this fight? Why does it seem like black folks are not out here? Why does it seem like we're not out here? Why does it seem like that? Sherman had a great point when he was talking about it. He was like, "We've been out here. We've been bleeding and dying for it already. We've been out here."
Man,
But these particular protests, what is it about? Anthony Rogers, right in the chat, said some things earlier that I wanted to highlight too before we got to what that woman was talking about. Anthony Rogers Wright said, "Pillen can't be beaten." Oh, wait, where are we at here? He said, he had some really great quotes. Now I lost them. Oh, here he goes. He says, "We are not going to use this platform to rail against imperialism." An African saying very common in our country says, "When your house is burning, it's no use beating the tom toms." Are black people feeling like, this is not the time to go holla?
King Ben told us we were in a burning house.
He also said on a tricontinental level, this means that we are not holding to eliminate imperialism by shooting insults against it.
Or shouting shame.
There you go. Amilcar Cabral, a quote there that he's given a couple quotes that made me go, that's been my sentiment. To be honest with you, it's one of the reasons why this got started was because of that very thing back in 2020, Freedom Summer. There was a point at which I was out. I was driving through to try to get over to help the brothers protect the ice cream shop the sister owned, and the tear gas was flowing in the city, and I'm getting hit, and I'm driving, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if this is what I need to be doing at this particular point in time. So instead of going where I was going, I stopped at a few places and talked to a few people and came back to report on what was going on out there. Well, since I was already out there, eyes burning, I might as well talk to a few folks. And I got out and talked to a few folks. This was I remember specifically because it was the night that Brother Skurlock got killed. That same night I was out there. And so coming back with that idea that, there's going to be some folks that feel like it's time to protest, some folks that feel like we got to report on it and dig into the stories. And I think that's where the direction I got to go is going to be in. And it was because of that feeling, this underlying feeling I have at some point, and I know it has to do with my age as well, because when I was younger, I was all about the movement had to be out. You had to be in the street. You had to be screaming at people. I got older and I'm feeling a little bit like I'm trying to approach this on a different level now. Like this, all the screaming is fine. We still need that power out there, but at the same time, like, can we get to the things that's actually going to move the needle? Because we're basically just declaring how we feel when we out here doing that. It's a beautiful thing to see. I'm glad there was hundreds of thousands of people in the streets in America, the whole country, letting everybody know if you think that everybody's all about Trump, you are wrong. Here's the proof. There's millions of people in this country that are outside saying no, we don't want this. Millions of people. But go ahead.
To your point. Is that gonna move the needle? What's gonna move the needle? What's gonna move the needle? Because the idea is we've done all the things. We've been bombed. We've been in the streets. We marched. We screamed. We voted. I have a bar in the song said, "We didn't dream. We didn't scream, but it never really mattered. Still chattel. Still fighting this everlasting battle." Like we've been in this. We've been in this. But something that's different, and something that we want to talk about is what these quote unquote white folks are talking about. These European descendants. Shout out to Brother Anthony Rogers Wright coming in the chat with some percentages, some numbers per the New York Times. He says from the New York Times, No King's attendees were 90% white. This may have something to do with the fact that the decision makers, the money movers, the message makers are all white folk. Also, RG is saying, all I'm going to say is when the time comes, we all need to be ready to hit the streets and defend ourselves. I definitely agree with that sentiment, and I appreciate it. Also, Brother Sherman Wells actually entering the chat. Definitely would love to hear your take on some of this, saying exactly, kind of responding to Mama God as far as this is what this country is, and this is what this country is built on, and that's exactly the sentiment. It's not just up to us. We've always known what this country is. We have not had the luxury of not acknowledging what this country is. It's been put in our face. We can't escape what this country is. But there is a certain segment of this nation that has a happy hollows, happy-go-lucky. They can conveniently forget what this country is. They can conveniently ignore what this country is. They can conveniently act like this country ain't what it is. And that's what needs to change.
Big time.
So
Or-
appreciation.
Go
I
ahead.
just want to acknowledge this article. This is actually a Substack article from Dr. Stacy Patton. Headline reads: An emergency syllabus for white people who keep asking, "Where do I start?" Because that is a sentiment that I'm seeing on social media posts around with well-meaning, seemingly well-meaning, quote unquote, so-called white people asking, okay, I understand I'm a part of this privilege, but I want to help. I want to give back. I want to do good. I want us all to get along. How can I help? Where do I start? Where do I fit in all of
Oh,
this?
wait a minute. I'll tell you what. Let's before we get into that, because I feel like we are addressing a couple different things, and
Okay.
what we built up to before this was this idea that black people aren't in the march. And
Yes.
I want to come back to that real quick. RG, when RG said, all I'm going to say is when the time comes, we all need to be ready to hit the streets and defend ourselves. Us hitting the streets, defending ourselves is different from us going out protesting, marching. It's a different. Those are two different things. I'm definitely saying yes, mobilize in the streets when it comes to defense and what we got to do. But the question is, do we need to be out here in these marches? And some questions have been posed out there, like where are the black people at? This is what white folks are saying. This is what Anthony Rogers Wright is talking about. The percentage of people here that are out there, 90% of people. There's some factors involved and the reason why we're not out there in that way. As a matter of fact, something that's gone viral here just recently. A lady was asked what there's no diversity out here. Where are people at? And this lady had an epic response. Everybody's is floating around here. She says, when asked why there's a lack of diversity at No King's protest, it's going viral. She says, "This is not a place for people of color. If anybody is getting arrested here, it's a black person. It's not safe for them, and they don't need to participate. We will walk in their name."
Mm.
And this quote that she's been saying has been floating around, has been going viral because and a lot of black folks are behind it. They're saying this is what we're talking about. Like, yeah, you're right. You haven't seen a lot of black folks out here protesting. This is why. First of all, like Brother Sherman Wells said, we've been out here protesting. We've been in the fight. We've been bleeding and dying because of it. And so these rallies that are happening here, that's if we're not out there, there's a reasons why. First of all, there's reasons about whether or not it's moving the needle. We're way on the other side of this, where
Man.
if we've been doing No Kings protests since the '60s and before that.
Right.
Then how far much more are we advancing this idea about what we're up against, what we got to deal with, and what we got to do. And after watching that, after watching people marching in the street, getting eaten by dogs, hit by fire hoses, and everything else that's been going on with our marches, and we're still looking like we're looking in this country right now. Why would black folks feel like they need to be out there? Plus, it hasn't been safe. This is the whole point. It hasn't been safe for people of color. It hasn't even really been safe for white folks. White folks been getting killed out here
Man.
in these protests these days.
Called
So
domestic terrorists.
right. So anyway, to me, this is the sentiment is if anybody is wondering, why that is, that's kind of one of the reasons. It's not for it's our fight. We've been fighting it. We originated we had to originate the fight, and all the things that are happening now is really about what white people are seeing about this situation and how it's affecting them and why they're out in the streets. 90% of white folks. So many people went out and protested in Minneapolis after the white woman got shot. What, whose rallies are these really? And do we need to go out here and be battling and fighting with the police? Anybody gonna get shot, killed, and arrested? It's gonna be black folks out here protesting. That's who's gonna get it. So she might be right, but she also might be a good white person trying to find out what she can do. Which now
Okay, I like how
now
okay, I see what you did there.
if we slide in, I'm gonna come back to the chat. But first, I want you go ahead and introduce that part of it because this.
Yeah, man. Because in this last 30 or so, 20 actually minutes or so of the show, that's kind of where we want to end off. Seeing a lot of this conversation, seeing a lot of sentiment. Of course, the No Kings rally is a good show of force. Like it's a good y'all came out, y'all banged your drums and let the people know how y'all feel.
Right.
But what's next? What does it really look like? How do we really get how do we move the needle as we're talking about? So again, there is this Substack article that addresses just that. And for our white friends out there that actually want to get down, that actually want to help, understand, how you sound when you ask some of these questions, or just understand how we are viewing this time. Every week, I'll read from the article directly. Again, this is by Dr. Stacy Patton on Substack. A headline reads: An emergency syllabus for white people who keep asking, where do I start? Every week, without fail, a well meaning white person slides into one of my inboxes like they've just washed up on the shores of racial consciousness, blinking in the sunlight, clutching their moral resume, and whispering, I'm a good white person. I'm learning. I want to be better. They arrive announcing their anger at all that's happening in our country. They announce their allyship, their unlearning, good intentions, freshly discovered discomfort. And then, right on cue, they ask me to hand them a map. Where do I start? What can I read or watch? They ask for books, documentaries, a syllabus. They want a gentle on ramp to the truth, as if the entire internet does not exist or Google is broken. As if centuries of black scholarship, struggle, blood, and analysis are not already cataloged, indexed, and sitting 2 clicks away. Deep sigh. So here, since y'all keep begging for black folks to build you a syllabus for free, I'm going to give you a list of books so thorough, so radical, so academically and spiritually inconvenient that y'all won't need to ask me a damn thing for a long, long time. It took me a bit to get it together, but here's the syllabus for white folks who claim they're ready to unlearn and ready to lose their story that casts them as innocent, central, and morally evolving heroes of history. And again, this is some sentiments that I am seeing on social media. Yeah, and I do I personally hold all of these sentiments? Not fully, but I understand it. And we're going to talk about it, dissect it. Paul, I know you had some thoughts about this.
I do. I got
What
even
say
more
you?
thoughts now since we talked about it last. It's
Okay.
definitely, yeah. My sentiment here is these I feel like the No King situation in these particular rallies that are happening right now are not. We don't see these numbers come out when somebody black is getting killed or some injustice is happening with black folks. We don't. This is, and that tells me that this may not be this. This may be their fight. This is what some folks are saying. Marlon Harris in the chat says white people need to start holding their own accountability, their own accountable for their actions. Christy Norris says black folks have told us they are sitting this out. This is white folks asked to fix, especially white women. Also, earlier in we'll see. Mark Manner also said, also if you want to look at the MAGA radicals online, they have gotten very sensitive about these protests, and that may make them act up. I have seen the reaction; they get a lot of reaction for these things happening as well. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright says it come down to we don't need any more white allies. We need white accomplices, collaborators. As El Haj Malik Shabazz once said, my standard for white activism is John Brown. taking some serious action. Also, Mama God in the chat says his popularity is weakening. Right now, our fight needs to be intentional. Our counterparts can get out there and show each other that they too are getting harmed in the process. And that's kind of my point. I feel like because they gotten harmed in the process, that's why they're out there rallying. They're not rallying for justice for black folks. So when the question comes in, what can we do as good white folks? It's different than if you think you're satisfying what you need to do to be good white folks to black folks by going out to the No Kings rally, you got it twisted. You're out there at the No Kings rally because that's your rally, because you're mad at Trump, because they done shot some white folks in the street. Because this hasn't been justice for people of color at all. You're just doing something that we've already been doing since the '60s. Out here protesting, getting shot and dying and arrested for it. So that's this is that conversation. This is that thing that we're talking about here. We're talking about whether or not. Why is it that black folks aren't showing up? Whose fight is it? What is the fight? I would love for us to all find the commonality in all of our fights and then all get together and fight. That would be ideal. But let's not get it twisted. What's going on here is because white people are mad at Trump for doing stuff to white people.
Right.
And I can say that confidently because I've never seen these kinds of numbers come out since George Floyd. And even with George Floyd, they came out because it was during the pandemic. They weren't going to work. They told me I've talked to white friends that told me that we've been wrapped up with work and life, and now that we got some time, we trying to voice what it is that we've been feeling this whole time. So we out here. But think about the last time you seen numbers out here like this, and even then, George Floyd was the catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
White folks ain't, but women too, women especially, women are really upset that this rapist, misogynist fool is in the office. Like somebody said it in the chat, like that's their fight, especially women. So when we talk
Yeah.
about protesting the system is different than standing up for people of color. Those are two different things. Now there's some overlap.
Mm-hmm.
The circles overlap. They got the section in the middle where we both would need to be out in the streets. And like Anthony Rogers Wright said before, like we not cowards. We're not staying home because we might get arrested. We don't need white folks standing in for us on that tip. We need collaborators, allies. We need people that can stand next to us and realize that we got the common enemy, same fight. How about we get together and do that? But how about we get together and do it all the time? Don't no white person need to ask me why we're not out there marching with this one. Why were you not out there marching with the other ones? Why wasn't the majority of the country doing this for other reasons? That's where I come with it.
No,
What's
that's
this
pretty much head on. Go ahead.
What's this link you got in the chat here?
Oh yeah, not Jay Hanna asking, can you link that blog list? So not Jay Hanna wants to see this list of books. So there you go.
That don't look like no link to me. Hold up.
Let me see if I can get you a better.
Oh yeah, bro. I didn't even copy all of it. Hold up. Okay, here you go. Skip that thing I just put in there. Here's an even longer link to hit. See if you can get to it from there. Jay Hanna, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Moreno says right. Appreciate you guys.
Also-
RG says
also-
man.
Just gonna say that link. If that link doesn't work, you can find the list on Friends of First Sky Omaha on Facebook.
There you go. RG said, "Man, every time you see a No Kings post, you can spot the MAGA a mile away with the laugh reacts." Oh man, that is. I will say that's an unintended consequence to to the millions of people that have been out here in the street in this country over this. They are absolutely. I'm seeing so much hate for that. They do not like that happening at all. It's a good rile them up. Good. I'm glad they're getting riled up over that. I'm glad they don't like it. I mean, it's a statement. I don't have nothing bad to say about the rallies because it's a statement. It's good to see how many. It's good to be reminded about how many people are feeling like we're feeling about this particular subject for sure. And how many people that you kind of start feeling like that, like especially in Nebraska, we're feeling like, well, it's mostly Republican out here. You start to feel a little bit like you're surrounded. You know what I'm saying? And, and so it's good to know that there's some folks around here that ain't about it, that are marching down the street right now, ain't about it.
Yeah, that's nice. But again, for me, the question is, what's next? Like, it's one thing to have this protest to say, okay, we're not about it, but what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, and let's be honest about how we got here. Like the whole Heritage Foundation, the whole like, how did we get here? How did we get here? The Trump agenda, which is the Heritage Foundation plan, I forget what they called it, memorandum for new leadership or whatever they called it, is all a response to us doing the same exact thing that we're saying we're not about to do. We got into the streets, we got wins in the civil rights movement, and then here comes the whole heritage movement. They come killing our leaders. Then they implement Reagan and Reaganomics, the whole crack. Like, how did we get here? How do we get here? And let's be honest, we're not going to get anywhere until we start dismantling whiteness. Like, we got to kill whiteness and be clear that it's not about people who have pale skin, European descendants. It's not about your skin color. It's about this concept of whiteness that you keep clinging to.
Well,
without putting that down, we're not going to get anywhere. Right. And all the European countries abstaining from the Ghanaian resolution, the United States, Israel, Argentina voting against it, shows us that we still have a lot of work to do.
Man.
Well, not we, y'all still got a lot of work to do.
Man.
We doing the work. with the African Union.
On the heels of this decision, on the heels of of most of the world agreeing that the biggest atrocity that's ever happened to humankind was the transatlantic
That's what got me
slave
going.
trade.
That's what's got me going. This is actually what I was thinking about on Friday that kind of prepared me for today's episode. And the fact that No Kings and all this came together is just serendipitous. But I'm gonna keep talking about it. I don't know about y'all, but I go and read the United Nations declarations. I read the Declarations of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I read the Declaration of Rights of Children. I know what the nations are supposed to be doing and aren't doing. Do you?
Man,
You know what I mean? And are we paying attention to what's going on a global scale? Because we've been talking about it. This Negro problem has to get addressed. What happened to us in this country is affecting the world on a global scale. And we're not going to get to where we're trying to go until we address this on a global scale. And the globe is ready to address it. Are we? Are we going to have this conversation? Are we going to push the line? Are we going to put this race problem in everybody's face? We got to address it. That's the only way any of this is going to change. That's it. We got to have the uncomfortable conversations.
well, shout out to Ghana for starting it on a worldwide scale. This was pretty huge, and I think that people kind of gloss past it, but that's a huge declaration, and it's also huge of the people that decided to not agree with that declaration, which is
Man.
our
And why?
what was
And
it?
why?
It was a U.S., Israel, and Argentina. Those are the
Yeah.
only three. Those are the only three. That's
I
wild.
said no. I voted against it. All of the other European countries, just Germany and everybody just quietly abstained.
I mean, think about what that means. That Germany quietly abstained. If they came out like, yeah, that was the worst, then they may have to.
So
Mhm.
to that point, what does that mean? What if they do acknowledge it? Then what we are witnessing is the setup of the largest transfer of wealth in human history, possibly. We're talking about following the money, right? It's not just about acknowledging that what we did was wrong. Once you acknowledge that there was a crime committed, then there has to be restitution. There has to be some kind of reckoning. There has to be a making whole of the victim, which means that, and per I don't know if you've read the Ghanaian resolution, but a big part of that is returning all of the artifacts to the nations of origin without fee, free of charge. All of the gold, all of the emblems, all of the museums, those items alone could mean a huge transfer of wealth. What does that look like on a global scale? Life as they know it is over.
That's wild.
When you really think about what's going on a global scale, it's the time. We gotta have this conversation. Not just that, but add on Epstein with all of it. Heads are already rolling. Are you seeing the writing on the wall?
I was reading some stuff about the fall of the Soviet Union the other day, just because everything's going down with Cuba right now. The last time we had this stuff was the Cuban Missile Crisis situation. It was because Russia had ties over there and was putting nuclear weapons and stuff over there. And as all that was happening, the Soviet Union fell, and and how that affected the support they were giving Cuba and so on and so forth. But it just for some reason when I'm thinking about the fall of our nation, I'm thinking about where we at in history. We always kind of jump back to like, well, when Rome fell, but we got examples way after Rome. Soviet Union was a stronghold back in the day, and the fact that it fell, I remember I was a kid, but I remember hearing about it and it being like, this is major. This is like the United States falling. Like, it was huge for the Soviet Union to fall. So it puts into perspective about how it could happen here. Where are we at in history here? You can have something that's so ingrained that you don't feel like it could ever fall, but history tells you that it can, and you have examples in your lifetime where it did, in other
Mm.
places. And what are the similarities? What are the things that are close? What are the things that would happen there that went down? What was that all about? Man, think about like the Berlin Wall fall. I mean, there were so many major uprisings that changed things, and we don't even call these countries the same countries
Mm.
anymore since the 80s.
Right.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
that? You don't
Stick.
you call Russia Russia. You don't call it the Soviet Union.
Empires have fallen, and we're
Can you
about
imagine the
250
United
years.
States name changing because it fell?
It can happen. Well, they say the hate you give. Mm.
Well, Mama God said, chicken come home to roost."
Man.
In the chat, real quick, jumping back in, Mama God telling us that the Magateers were out there trying to attack at No Kings protesters. It was
Mm.
subtle. It was subtle and nothing like it will be if we were at the march. If we were at the march, this is very true. You got a point there for sure. I appreciate that. Also, RG says Heritage Foundation. We're going to make America white again. Right.
Pretty much.
Anthony Rogers, right. What transformational changes have come out of George Floyd uprisings, Paul? We have more money for police and less accountability for them, and that was under Biden. I mean, we're basically talking about that. How many people be out in the street? When was the last time they were out in the street? They were out in the street for George Floyd. But again, what do marches do? You know what I'm saying? What's changed? What's gotten worse? He also said the United Nations is an illegitimate and defunct body. The resolution is non-binding, and how we can take the UN seriously? It can't even stop a live stream genocide. You're bringing up some points here about the UN.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing up some points. There were some people that they were reaching out. We got to think about all those things that you're talking about, because what does it actually mean? It's another symbolic, even though it was huge that Ghana brought this resolution. It is symbolic. What you're describing about things falling apart in that way?
Mm-hmm.
That's what could happen.
Right.
That's what could happen. But we already feel like, nah, but that's not going to happen, because what kind of teeth the UN really got? There's a lot to consider when it comes to that. Everything is, to me, like everything is about awareness or movement. How aware do we, like we're either doing stuff for awareness. Okay, great. Now everybody knows this. We have declared that words matter. I understand that this is huge. But at the same time, what is it going to mean? Because it could mean all those things you're talking about, but will it?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, for me, it's the acknowledgement. It's like, okay, we got this on paper. We acknowledged it. Let's push the line now. You said this on paper, so let's do something about it. Kind of similar to Douglas County recognizing racism as a health disparity. I'm gonna keep saying that. What? Okay, we got it on paper now. Let's do something about it. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna keep saying that because I ain't hearing nobody else talk about it, or Nebraska prisons being overcrowded. There's an official declaration on paper. Let's do something about it.
Yeah,
that's the next step.
Right. And that's the next step. To do something, all the steps start with become aware, speak on it, and then do something about what you're speaking on. Like we've always been saying here, get the information first, and then act on the information.
Right. And as far as the United Nations, let's dive into how the United Nations was created and the pillaging of Africa. Let's just call it what it is.
Marlon Harrison says, "Follow the money. Europe doesn't want to give up their money and their priceless jewelry."
Come on, man.
I was thinking when Germany, I was just specifically looking to see if Germany voted on that resolution, because if they said that if they voted yes to this was the worst atrocity of all time, then what can they say about what happened with the Nazis? Which is the reason why I think Israel voted against it, because they want to be like, well, we have an atrocity that was worse than that.
Oh yeah, they
Marlon Harrison said, "Let's be honest. White Soviet Union is dead. While Soviet Union is dead physically, Putin and other people want to bring it back politically and socially. Yeah, there's a lot of people from that era that's doing that and acting that way. Of course, yeah, absolutely true. But still, the economic. I know I have some people there, and the economic impact that happened when that went down. reset everything, messed up everything. But power shifted. All it was huge. It was a major country that basically folded. So and to this day, the aftermath of everything that's going on to this day is really directly connected to that when it comes to them. Even
Hmm.
what's happening with Cuba, right now because they were so closely related
Man,
during that time.
I'm glad you brought up Cuba. I was just looking at Brother RG's comment about Cuba in the chat. He says was on TikTok, and Vic Mensa had a post up where he was in Cuba, and he said he found out the exact reason that they're being treated the way they are. Cuba is mighty black. I mean, you wanna go to the Middle East, go back far enough, you'll see how they used to look. Talking about
Mm.
Israel and Palestine. Yeah, man. I mean, again, it's the same situation. You know what I mean? It's the colonization of melanated peoples across the world. That's all it is, and that's all it's ever been. And we got to address it, and we got to deal with it. And again, while yes, the UN is not perfect, while yes, the UN has its issues, I'm listening to the rhetoric coming out from countries. I'm paying attention to what some of the conversation is going, and it seems like the majority of the global community is ready to go away from this race-based imperialism. They're done with it.
Yeah, I'm still that dude that's like, well, until you do something about it, you can be done with it all
Definitely,
you want to in your heart.
definitely, definitely,
In my heart, I'm
definitely.
done. I'm done. Uh, we're gonna get out of here. We only got about 4 minutes left in the show, so we're not gonna get too
Mhm.
deep into much more. We appreciate you guys joining us today and trying to set some intention on a Monday. But I will say this: Anthony Rogers Wright is giving me some breaking news saying Russian oil is reaching Cuba today. I definitely need to see some. I want to see the reports on that because
Yeah.
because we you talked the other day about some ships that were leaving to Cuba with some supplies, and didn't something happen to those?
Yeah, word is that the flotilla that was on its way. I think you had mentioned about this flotilla. Some of the ships, a part of the flotilla, have gone missing. That's according to a report from Democracy Now! And other reporters. Again, that boats that were a part of this flotilla sending aid to Cuba have gone missing. So I know again, Brother Anthony Rogers, right? Yeah, made mention about kind of being in contact with some of those people. If you can confirm that or give an update on that situation, please let us know. But again, that's crazy in itself, as far as Russian oil reaching Cuba. But here we are, kind of the stage being okay, he says putting on friends of now. Thank you for that update. But yes, I mean that's the stage being set for World War III too, as far as who's going to step up for these energy assistance in these countries and who's not.
There you go. And on that note, nuclear war.
Nuclear war gonna
On
rain
that
on your
note,
head,
go listen to some Sun Ra, get your mind right,
man.
feed your people, take care of
Man.
each other. Uh, don't get too discouraged about things that are happening, but do the best you can do to help. So,
Yeah,
and you kind of start with the people around you, your family, live a life with one another, your family, your friends, your people, take care of each other. And once your group is taken care of, move as a unit to take care of bigger groups around that and
man.
around that and around that. Let's make it happen. So with that, I appreciate you guys joining us today. Definitely lots to talk about, lots of evergreen topics that we'll have to continue to talk about and move
Definitely.
into too. And we'll get to that point. If anybody has any information on any of the candidates running for the six to dismiss seats, let us know. We talked a little bit earlier about Miss Walls, who's running for governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, top of the list there for sure.
Is there
Don't forget, also the we had brother Preston Love Jr. To tell us. Don't forget about Don Bacon's seat. That even though he's not there anymore, who's going to take that seat? He had some strategy there. If a Democrat or somebody takes that seat, they only got a couple more Democrats to go before they can legally impeach the president and maybe get him out, or not legally impeach him. They can impeach him now, but they might have the votes for that impeachment if they move in that direction too. So if you missed any parts of his conversation, that strategy, please go back to YouTube and check out the interview with Preston Love Jr. that we had a few weeks back for sure. We're
man?
also looking to have our monthly meetup with the mayor here pretty soon. We're working with him. Schedule got kind of tight this last week or so we're gonna make sure that we keep on moving in and having a conversation with him very soon. Stay tuned for that. We also got some other special guests coming this week to stay tuned for as well. Buddy, I'm sorry. Were you saying something I was cutting you off from?
No, man, you good. You good. I was just I had actually pulled up the list of candidates for the 2026 gubernatorial election, and I was asking. You had mentioned Lynn Walls, but I've been seeing it. And I was wanting to ask the chat: is her husband running as well, John Walls?
I was
Is that her
wondering.
husband?
I was
Yeah,
wondering. I was wondering about that. We got a couple walls in there. The only ones I've been hearing
yeah.
about was Lynn, but that was today that I looked at. I looked at the list and I was like, how many? That's a coincidence. There's another walls in there. Uh,
Think that's her husband.
that would be interesting. But anyway, like I said, the only I've talked to the Democratic, some people in the Democratic Party. The only people they've been talking to me about is Lynn. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So
Check it out, y'all. Check it out.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of Ricketts, who's endorsing his wife, who's a Democrat, running for something.
I did see that,
Yeah.
and I think the Walls, one's a Democrat, one's a Republican. We got to look into it.
What?
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly, man.
Not that soap opera. Let me know about that.
Yeah, bro. Let us know, man. Somebody got some insight on that one. Yeah. I'm just looking at the list.
RG said, "Put on that most def mathematics for real."
Hey, got to learn how to add. It's mathematics for sure, for
Hey,
sure.
Sherman
Hey, put some
Wells,
respect on his name too. Yasin Bey. Yasin
please
Bey.
do, please do. Got something else new out right now too. I just saw
Yeah,
last
man.
night. That's
Come on,
what's up.
come on.
Speaking of which, we might have to talk about Ye. He is absolutely positively number one in the country right now. How his album Blue is incredible.
I told y'all, man. I missed that listening party, man. Hey, but
Is it old Ye? Is it old Ye?
that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
You haven't heard it
But
yet.
I haven't heard all of it yet, man. I missed the listening party, but the homies been telling me is of course. One of the homies actually engineered for Jesus, so like they are in the end, and yeah, it's possibly but it's some good music coming, man. Big Boy got some shit on the way. I mean, some stuff on the
Man,
way.
come
Excuse
on,
me, I'm
come on,
getting
come on.
excited. Got some stuff on the way. Was in the studio with Killer Mike last night. It's
Stop.
some music coming, man.
We
It's
talking,
some revolutionary music coming, man.
we talking about the wrong stuff. We'll get back to it. Sherman Wells in the chat said, "Man, you brothers don't miss nothing. Much love in both of y'all. Man, appreciate y'all. Hey, brother Wells, if you in the chat, that speech you gave, that's some
Big Sean.
revolutionary. That was a revolutionary, powerful speech there, bro. So man, that was some public speaking right there, bro. I've heard you speak
There you
publicly
go.
before, but you reached another level on that one. That was what's up. Mama God said, "My people, let's continue being intentional with each other and for each other. Love
There you
that.
go. Love it.
Appreciate that very much. Yep. Marlon Harrison says, "I want to leave on a positive, stay healthy reminder to break to breaks from your foolishness and focus on your art and wellness." I love
Hey,
that, man.
hey, there
You know
you
what
go,
we
Mark.
talking about. You know what we
Come on,
talking
man. Picking up what we're putting down.
There we go. So RG says, "So I'm hearing is Ye on the mic D Kardashianized." I heard a couple tracks. I heard a couple tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I seen that Travis Scott father joint drop. I still ain't checked that out. But
That video was incredible. That was
I
something
must
else,
have to
bro.
check. I gotta check it out. I ain't seen
That
it
was
yet. I
something
ain't
else.
seen it.
Also,
But go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's all in the spirit of Art Soldier. You know what I mean? The love supreme. That's all. Just bring it back to that. But yeah, what were you about to say?
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. A lot of new stuff. Terrace Martin got some new things out. Snoop Dogg just dropped a mini film with 3 or 4 new tracks. There's some
See
stuff
that.
out there. There's some
See
stuff
that.
out there. So
Yeah.
definitely check it
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work with the art soldiering for real. Stay tuned. Definitely check us out on our friends of First Sky Omaha, where we'll put special guests and people that are coming up here for the next shows Wednesday and Friday. Stay tuned for that. We definitely have some things coming, and also some more videos and stuff that we're about to drop. So definitely like and subscribe and over on YouTube, and make sure that you hit the bell. You know when those are dropping. We're going to be trying to move into doing some stuff with 6 to Dismiss and some other things too. Like I said, I'm having some conversations with people that we'll definitely figure out how to capture so that you can see it and learn a little bit more about some of these candidates. And the primaries are coming up. You got to start thinking about that, making sure that you're registered, making sure that you're you know where your polling place is going to be. We got some instructions from the Democratic Party on if you want to do a mail-in ballot, vote by mail. You're going to have to first of all, check your registration, and then you're going to request your ballot. So that is if you're not getting that green card coming in the mail, you might have to request it. So be on the lookout. Dates are coming up. April 13th is right around the corner here. So a couple weeks. This will start. So if you're gonna make your plan to vote by mail, then go ahead and get it going. You got a couple weeks to get rolling on that. Stay tuned for all of that for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we'll continue to talk about. We're past time now, so we appreciate you allowing us to go past the agreed upon time. But we'll come back and jump back into the conversation on Wednesday and have some more haps there too. If you have any haps, do us a favor, put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook, as long as we're there. If we did get dumped off of Facebook earlier, then I apologize for that. I appreciate everybody who came back on there too. But I tell you what, I highly encourage you to meet us over there at YouTube, because Facebook does that kind of stuff where YouTube doesn't really do that. So yeah, it's always something with these social media platforms. We got to keep our eye on them. But yeah, appreciate it. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah, I got a few, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, catching us so early on a Monday morning. We thank you for starting your week off with us. Hopefully, you got some intention set for the week, man. Got some step in orders, some marching orders, if you will, for all of our, I'm not going to say allies out there. We're looking for co-conspirators and collaborators. There you go. For all the co-conspirators and collaborators out there, there's a list of books, man. If you're looking for something to do, educate yourselves, man. And yeah, don't just rely on your black friends to do the work for you. Educate yourselves. You know what I mean? Dig deep within. Find out what you need to do. Listen to spirit. Let it move you. That's what we do. And then, yeah, for all the brothers and sisters out there, let's, be quiet, plan, strategize, set intentions, build, and be ready, because we know what's coming next. So with that, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning, Paul.
In the morning.
Hey, there you go. And yeah, we love you. We thank you. Make sure you check out some art, man. Go ahead and check out the public library. Come in, represent some dope artists, man. So shout out to all the artists being represented out there. Go check it out. Get you a book. Look at a computer. Check out some art.
Not open yet. April 14th is going to be grand opening for that public library. We're going to have a party then too. So definitely get ready for that.
There you go. So in the meantime, between time, you can catch us here, same time, same place. With that, peace.
Right on. Shout out to the Umaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. Shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thanks for joining us and contributing to the conversation and bringing in some for information as well. Doing some of the fact checking, all the stuff that we do when we have a conversation that we're trying to get to some solutions with. So I appreciate that very much. Definitely chill out with your people. Keep up with the art soldiering. Go listen to Flea from Chili Peppers. He got a jazz album out where he's playing the trumpet. Dope. A lot of good music out there right now.
Okay.
Good things happening. Speaking of which, man, go check out some Sherman Wells. If you're gonna be on Spotify, Apple Music, go check out Sherman Wells too, man. We be playing his music all the time too, man. Don't forget he's a news gang, but he's also an art soldier. So it's going down as well. So just appreciate everybody who's here and that continues on with us in this vein. This really helps us put some perspective on what's going on, and it helps us to come to some conclusions about what we're going to do. Let's do it together. There it is. With that, we out of here. You guys take care of yourselves. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the Red